Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. We're here with the Super Formula Season 3, Round 6 at Interlagos. And I'm sure we are going to have an absolutely cracking little race. We've got blue skies, so it's going to be full throttle all the way. Great stuff. Forget your troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away. Shout hallelujah. Come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day. Yes, brethren, out there, we are here for round 6 of the Super Formulas. And I will tell you the table, then I will tell you the grid. As it's a set grid on reverse of the championship, and they're carrying weight, remember, through championship ballast to try and even out the scores. But there's no evening out that man there, Talleyrand. He's top of the table on 93 points, with Homesick Alien in second on 80 points. So that's a 13-point lead. And my word, should we give him the championship table, the trophy now? Because my lord, he won the 2 previous seasons, and it looks like he's romping home for a third to make himself a treble VRC Super Formula champion. But like I said, he's on 93 points, Homesick Alien on 80 points, Racer Brown in third, but he can't make this evening. He's on 73 points, it's a big loss for him. Then Skyjacker, who also can't make it, in fourth on 66 points. So Digital Blasphemy in fifth. He's going to gain the most out of this because he's on 62 points. He's only 11 points behind our Racer Brown. So he's going to be able to jump at least 2 spots today if he has a good race. Then we have Guesty in 6th on 61 points, only a point behind Digi. So Guesty will be looking to get some good points today. And Shiren on 60 points. It's very tight. Very, very tight from 4th down to, say, Cthulhu in 8th. He's on 54 points. It's Skyjacker 66, Digital Blasphemy 62, Guesty 61, Shiren on 60, Cthulhu on 54, Jim in 9th on 50 points, Noxie 10th on 30 points, Alexis Maximus 11th on 18 points, Pat is 12th on 15 points, JTX 13th on 10 points, and Turtle 14th on 9 points. So, my lord, some tight racing going to be happening today, I imagine, and there'll be some shuffling in that championship. So, there's no Turtle, so JTX will be starting on pole, and he's carrying 110% weight ballast. Everyone's on 100, they start on 100%, but JTX on 110%. Next we'll have Noxie, who's only carrying 102%, so a great spot for Noxie. He'll be on 8% less than JTX, and that might pay good dividends. Jim in third on 101%, Cthulhu next on 111%, then Shiren on 103%. So Shiren will be fighting fit today. And then we have Guesty on 109%, Digital Blasphemy on 106%, and then Homesick Alien on 108%, and Talleyrand at the back on, Talleyrand on 115%, and Pat will be starting at the back with 100%. I think Pat has made it. Yes, he is. He's up there. Yes, I think Pat had an issue with his return to the track last week and got in he got in a couple of guys' ways, but mainly Racer Brown. So he has been given the penalty of starting at the back, but the only way is up from the back there, Pat, so I wouldn't feel too bad about that at all. So Pat, all I can say to you is, forget your troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away. Shout hallelujah. Get ready for the judgment day. So yeah, we're only minutes away from the start of this race, and it's going to be a juicy one. 60 minutes of racing around here at Interlagos. They can use whatever tyre they damn well like, but they can only use the Racing Super Softs once. One stint only for those Super Softs. And I don't think we've seen many people go on to the medium and the hard, so really they're allowed Super Softs and softs. And they mainly stay on those soft tyres. The fuel is on ×3, and the tyres is on ×5. No, sorry, I'm apologising. I'm reading the Megane stuff. I don't know what the... oh, we are. No, I don't know. Scrub that. I don't know what the tyre rule is for these. It doesn't say anywhere. Well, I can tell you that we're doing 42 laps here at Interlagos, which evaluates to about an hour's racing. Don't listen to me, I'm getting it all wrong. I must be just delirious. Maybe I've got the COVID. You never know. There's only certain parts of the house I can go into at the moment. I'm getting stir crazy here in my cell. Come on, get happy. So let's have a look at some of these guys in practice. We've got Shiren there in his Haas replica, and he can make a vast difference in his championship today, with the lack of Skyjacker and Racer Brown being in it. And there we see Talleyrand letting Catulla know what weight he should be on. 732 kilograms of a weight ballast he's going to be carrying around here. But so far, Shiren out there, proving his worth to the world. Digital Blasphemy in his Mercedes replica, looking very Hamilton-esque in my opinion, and looking very much like an 8-time world champion, 100 race winner. He looked very good in the Meganes there in second spot. Obviously rather handy around the Interlagos. So he'll be one to watch in this race. He's very tidy on tyres and looks after his fuel in a beautiful way. He drives the car like making love to a beautiful woman. Jim, he's not been happy with his season so far. Jim wants to make amends. He knows he can do better. So Jim will be looking to get some good positioning here in his Honda replica. We've got a lot of F1 replicas here, haven't we? And Homesick Alien, he's driving one of the old Williams replicas from, I think, the 70s. I don't know how far back in the 70s, and I'm not going to guess. I'm going to give it an R as well to say I'm ready, just in case they weren't sure. And I think Homesick Alien's going to have a practice start, so we'll get on board whilst he presses all the buttons, getting ready, revving the car up. And that looked, he wasn't happy with that. He's going again. He's just a little less revs. He's going again. It's another bit of wheel spin. You can see it's kicking over. He really wants to nail these starts. So again, he's going first gear. And that was a lot sweeter. Yes, the Alien has got it. Third attempt. If he can do that at the beginning of the race, he is golden. He's going to make positions up. You just know he is. So Homesick Alien out there in his Leyland car. Then Guesty in the Mild 7 Renault. Alonso's Chariot, I think, and maybe, I don't know. Yeah, Alonso, so I'm going to say. It's not Benetton. It hasn't got Benetton written on it, so it wasn't Schumacher's. And this is it. This is the beginning of the race. It's all very exciting. As we see them sitting on the grid, waiting to go. JTX on pole. Alongside him is Noxie. JTX carrying that weight. So Noxie will be wanting to get off that line before him. Doesn't want to be held up behind the fin. As they wait, the lights are on. They're waiting for him to disappear. And wow, JTX goes full throttle, but he's got some traction, but he's got a load of traction control. Slowing him down, but it's doing okay, and Noxie not managing to get a jump on him. Jim's on the outside, but Jim's on the grass. He's got to back out of that one. Oh my word, it's not the start Jim wanted, but meanwhile Noxie did get it. Noxie got the jump on JTX, and now Noxie is leading the way from JTX in second, Guesty in third place, Sharon in fourth, then we have Digital Blasphemy in fifth, Catula in sixth. Oh, there's a whole bunch of cars there, and oh my lord, it looks like Pat's just smashing Catula up the rear, and Pat, he's rough riding guys out there. He's got to be careful. The stewards are keeping an eye on him. He's had a couple of discrepancies. Homesick Alien up to 6th, Talleyrand up into 7th, Catula in 8th, Pat's out wide in 9th with Jim going through. And yeah, I don't know, it might have just been a little bit of lag there. And who's that? Noxie slowed right down. Noxie stopped virtually. Oh my word. So unknown what happened to Noxie there, but he's ghosted. He was leading the race and he's off wide again. Oh, maybe he's having wheel problems out there. Wheel and reel problems, but he looks like some issue that Noxie's having at the moment. So JTX retakes the lead of this race. Guesty up into second, Sharon in third. Then we got Digital Blasphemy in fourth, but we got Catula right on the tail of Digital Blasphemy. Catula looking to make a move on Digi, and Digi, oh, there's a little wheel bang there from the two of them as they go into the first corner, but Catula survives, and Digi looks like he's struggling at the moment. I don't know if that's weight. Jim back up into sixth, Talleyrand's dropped down, and Homesick Alien, oh my words. So there's been some action whilst we were watching Noxie sorting his business out, and Talleyrand and Homesick dropping down the order, with JTX now up there in first place, with Guesty in second, being followed very closely by Sharon. And Sharon is keeping a close eye on that mild 7 Renault in his Haas car, whilst JTX leads the way. And Sharon's got the move on Guesty, so Sharon up ahead of Guesty, but now Sharon's off wide. Oh my word, there's a yellow flag, there's Guesty, oh, and Jim's now up into third. Look at the start Jim had an awful start, and he's up to third already. So we're having a lot of movers and shakers. Digital Blasphemy, he was going slow for some reason earlier in the race. He's back up to pace now, and it's all over the place. Guesty's dropping down into fifth behind Digital Blasphemy. Talleyrand now sixth, Homesick Alien seventh, Pat in eighth place with Noxie ninth, and there is Sharon after his spin, some 7 seconds behind Noxie, but with a 42 lap race, there's plenty of time to make it up. And wow, what a bizarre beginning we've had so far to this race. So JTX, boom, leading. He's forgot to put his default number there. I'm sure he'll get picked up that with the stewards on that one. Catula in second, Jim in third. And this is shaping up to be a juicy fight, with Digital Blasphemy very, very close behind behind Jim, on board with Digi. He's some 2.3 seconds ahead of Talleyrand, who's up to fifth, with Homesick Alien in sixth, Guesty down to seventh, Pat in eighth, and here comes Digi trying to get a move on Jimbo, but Jim defending like a boss in his Honda Lucky Strike. And JTX not managing to pull away from these guys, still only, oh, look like Jim made a small mistake in that final corner, letting Digital Blasphemy get a run on him up the straight. He's side by side with the Jim, but I'm sure Jim's on a little lighter weight than Digital Blasphemy, and Jim's staying with him alongside, and Jim's got that inside line, but Digital Blasphemy, he's going around the outside, and wow, you know, that's saying about something about brave and fortune and favours. Is it fortune favours the brave? But Jim come back on Digital Blasphemy, and he's back up into third place. What a corking battle from Jim and Digital Blasphemy out there, both on the racing soft tyres, and they are having a humdinger. Talleyrand meanwhile in fifth place, 1.5 seconds ahead of Homesick, who's again, him and Guesty, they enjoyed their racing so much in the Megans. They're back at it again out there in the Super Formulas. Homesick Alien then just a slight slither ahead of Guesty, with Pat in 8th place, Noxie in 9th, who's caught up Pat now. He's got the fastest lap of the race. Whatever his problems were, he's fixed them, and he's back on it. He's got the fastest lap so far in this race, and Shiren playing catch up, nearly 8 seconds behind the rest of the field. And it's a long walk for Shiren to get back to the top, but I have every faith in car 69 that he can do it. He's got the skills and he's got the speed. So JTX so far holding on to that lead ahead of Cthulhu, and they are lapping around the similar times, a 1:19.7 for JTX last time around, Cthulhu a 19.6, so nothing in it between the two of them. Cthulhu, he loves to use that boost early doors in the race, and he's using it now. Digital Blasphemy has got himself back ahead of the Jim. Jim, though, very close behind. Jim very much faster in this middle sector than Digital Blasphemy. He's going to go for that inside line. No, he thinks better of it, and he waits. And he's only 1.5 seconds ahead of the championship leader, Talleyrand, who is pushing on at the moment. He's done a good lap time, a 19.1. He's got Homesick Alien not too far behind him. Homesick Alien shaking off Guesty a little bit. And Pat is only 1.3 seconds behind him, with Noxie a second behind Pat. And Shiren's pulled back a second already. He's got the fastest lap of the race. So, I said he had the skills, he had the speed, he'll be back in the fight. But JTX nearly a second ahead of Cthulhu. Cthulhu back on that boost again. He likes to use it to come out the corners, you see. Any loss from traction, he makes up in the boost. Trying to close that gap to him and JTX. Digital Blasphemy still in the battle with Jim. We'll get on board with the Jim. Car 66 as he battles it out with the Mercedes replica. Mama Homesick in the chat saying go Homesick. And he's there in 6th at the moment, carrying a little bit more weight. He's only 2nd in the championship, I think, so he'll be carrying a bit more weight than some of the guys around him. Oh, there's a bit of roughhousing there from Jim and Digital, but Digital gets through the corner first, and it looks to me like Digital and Jim are catching up Cthulhu at this point. So a lovely jubbly. We're going to have ourselves a real race on soon, if we haven't already. Talleyrand only 1.6 seconds behind, but Homesick Alien's caught up the championship leader. And the championship leader, he's on the heaviest ballast out there. Oh, it looked like, I guess he had a wiggle on, but he's far enough ahead of Pat to not lose a position to Pat. Pat getting the fastest sector at the moment as they make their way up the hill, and Pat is on it. He wants to get through the field. He knows he's got every fighting chance here for a win, having the lightest car on the track, and he's got himself past Guesty, has he? Not quite yet. Yes, he has now. So now Pat up into 7th, but Guesty's got that inside line. Is he going to late break? No, Pat is through. So Pat on the actual shifter. He is moving it. And he's up to 7th already. Homesick Alien, only 4/10 behind Talleyrand, trying to get a tow from the championship leader. And these guys only 3.6 seconds off of JTX, who is leading at the moment. JTX leading the way. He's only 4/10 ahead of Cthulhu. And Cthulhu is coming. JTX, you've got to watch yourself. On board with the Seat Super Formula, chasing down JTX as they make their way through the hairpins. And you can see a big handful of understeer there from Cthulhu as he braked late into the hairpin. Lost a little ground, couple of tenths to JTX there. And these cars, you've really got to drive. Oh, a wiggle coming out that final corner. That doesn't help with a good drive up the hill. And then, yeah, you really have to drive these cars with a bit of care. You can't chuck them around. You really can't. They don't like that. They're aero sensitive. And there we go. Cthulhu going into the first corner, onto the brakes, over the curbs of the right left-hander. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. Down the back straight. Well, it's not the back straight, but it is pretty much the only straight. as he chases JTX down, but he's lost a bit more ground. I think he's getting a bit raggedy, is Catula at the moment. Shaking the bones out of his Super Formula, trying to catch up that Flying Finn out there. As they go over the hairpin apexes, trying to close the gap on JTX. JTX trying to manage his race. It's not just about going fast, it's about saving that fuel, saving those tyres. Oh, a little wiggle on there from JTX. He got a little kick from the back end of his Super Formula, and that's how easy it is to lose one of these cars. You have to be driving them with the delicacy of a watchmaker. And so JTX out there, 6/10 ahead of Catula. Jim back ahead of Digi. Digi. Where's Digi? Digital Blasphemy dropping down the field. Oh my word, he's in a Pat and Homesick Alien sandwich at the moment, but he seems to get through, and he's back ahead of the two of them, and he's coming back at Talleyrand. Oh my god, another wiggle on from a Digital Blasphemy. Homesick Alien cutting the corner a little bit just to avoid an accident, and I imagine that's what his argument would be to the stewards. If he picked up on that, he said, I had nowhere to go. Digital Blasphemy was shaking and baking on the apex, and I had nowhere to go, so I had to go on the inside of the corner. But Homesick Alien hasn't lost a position, but he's gained a new person ahead of him, because Digital Blasphemy dropping down the order, which is a stress and a struggle for Digital Blasphemy. He looked like he was keeping up with Jim and in the battle with Jim, but Jim's off. I saw Jim was off. Oh my word, Jim's made a small mistake there, and that gives Talleyrand the opportunity to come around him, and Digital Blasphemy also. Can Homesick Alien also get through? And Jim is down to 6th place, and he's got it all to do again. But he's done it once in this race, he can do it again if he just keeps the faith. Keep the faith. And Pat's through as well. Cheeky by Pat, he found an opportunity and he whizzed past Jim, and it looks like Guesty is having a look also. But Jim trying to come back at Pat in 6th place. Pat all over the Alien. The weight deficit for Homesick Alien has taken its toll, because Pat has got himself up to 5th. And is Pat going to win this race? On lap 10 of 42, Pat is looking the strongest contender out there. Talleyrand on the move with Digi. He's going for the inside line on Digital Blasphemy. Can he maintain it? They're both side by side coming through the right-hander. And now Digital Blasphemy has the inside line, and Talleyrand has to drop back. And he's got to be careful, because Pat, lightweight Pat, floating like a butterfly, punching like a bee. He's right there behind Talleyrand, and he's looking for an opportunity. So there is Homesick Alien. He's back up with Pat, and Pat's off. Pat's done the same thing as Jim did. Pat's had a mistake, and he's got back on the track. He's got to be careful of that. He doesn't impede people, but it doesn't look like he did too much. Jim has got around him around the outside. They're side by side, and my word, this is very tight. Pat's got the inside line to the final corner, and Jim has to just... Oh no, Pat's off again. Pat is off again, and this is it. Pat's pushing too hard. Calm down, Pat. Chill out. So Jim back up ahead. Noxie in 9th, and now Pat is last. Shiren did catch that pack up like I said he was going to. And he's in the fight again, with Noxie right up behind Jim in 7th. Then we've got Guesty in 6th, and Jim looking for a way past the Guesty. My word. Are these guys going to chill for a minute to give me a break? So a JTX out there, his tyres, they are starting to look a bit red. They probably are affecting his grip a little bit. He's used half a tank of fuel up. He's a second ahead of Catula, who's used his tyres a little more than JTX, but only a wincy bit. Digital Blasphemy, he is an absolute... He drives those tyres like he's paid for them, and he's not even used them barely. So Digital Blasphemy in 3rd, looking after his tyres quite nicely. Talleyrand, he's a little bit more used than Digital Blasphemy, and he's got Homesick Alien back on his case. So Homesick Alien looking to get the move done here and back up into 4th place. And then we've got Jim in 6th. He's got himself past Guesty, and Guesty there in 7th, with Noxie in 8th place. Pat back up ahead of Shiren. So even with that light car, he's managing to get by, guys. But he's got to be careful. He's got to stay on the track because that's what's costing him at the moment. As he crosses the line, he's looking to get a move done on Noxie. He's going around the outside. Noxie's like saying, no, I've got track position, but Pat goes through. Noxie is right there, trying to give Pat a little bit of jib. He's in his slipstream, he's pulled out of it, he's going to go for a late break down the inside. But Pat is through and he's gone. And now Noxie under threat from Sharan. Sharan giving it some big balls as he goes through the corner and he's up ahead of the Noxie. So Noxie having a bad day out the office on this lap, losing 2 positions. And Sharan's gone for a move on Pat. Look at Sharan go. Unbelievable. Chariots of fire. JTX still leading this race. Oh, another wiggle. There's a big wiggle. Oh my God, that's cost him a lot. Cthulhu and Digital Blasphemy right there on the scene of the accident. Like a forensics team, they're there to try and pick up the pieces. And Digital Blasphemy going around the outside of Cthulhu, but can he do it along the straight? It's a battle of the boosts. I saw Cthulhu's boost just have a quick flash on to give him a squirt ahead of Digi, and JTX is struggling. Those tyres are starting to hurt that Porsche Super Formula. Digital Blasphemy has made it through. Digital Blasphemy gets himself, and that's the tyres for you. Digital Blasphemy looking after them tyres, and he is starting to get the paid off from it. Cthulhu down to third. Homesick Alien's got himself ahead of Talleyrand. Talleyrand has gone into the pits. Talleyrand into the pits early doors. We saw him do that in numerous rounds before. He likes a nice early stop, does Talleyrand. I think it gets him out of the crowd, and then he can just get on track and concentrate on just putting in those fast laps one after another. Homesick Alien then up to 4th, and he's got Jim on his case. If we get on board with the Jim, we can see his position. He's 1.6 seconds ahead of Sharan. So Sharan doing an absolutely stand-up job getting back in this race. He was 7 seconds off the pack after the first lap, and he is back in it again. With Digital Blasphemy in the lead now. Digital JTX has dropped right off. JTX I think's had a bit of an off. Oh my word. JTX, get in the pits, man. Get in the pits. Those tyres are done. They're toasty. Yes, well done. JTX into the pits because his tyres are absolutely cooked. Digital Blasphemy now in the lead of this race with Cthulhu staying out there in second. Homesick Alien, his tyres are a lot more betterer than Cthulhu's, and he's going to try and close that 2-second deficit he has on Cthulhu to try and get that second position. But he's got Jim along with him for the ride. Fuel is better on Homesick than Jim. Jim burning through that fuel more than Homesick Alien is. Homesick, I imagine, try not to rev the car too much. Keep those revs low, keep that fuel in your tank. We're in a fuel shortage, don't you know? We used to be. I bought some today, it was like £1.45 a litre. I was like, Christ, it cost me an extra tenner to fill my tank. It's usually like 60, just over 60 quid. And it was like £70. I was like, oh my God, the world must be ending. So Digital Blasphemy out there in the lead from Cthulhu. Then we've got Homesick Alien in third with Jim in fourth. Sharan coming back like a phoenix from the flames. He's up into 4th place. Going ahead of Jim, another one looking after his tyres in the most magnificent way. And Cthulhu into the pits, Homesick Alien into the pits. Wow, I didn't expect Homesick to come into the pits. His tyres were looking quite good, but he's decided it's time for a pit. Maybe he's worried about Talleyrand out there. After Talleyrand's pit stop, he'd be doing some good lap times. He's put another fresh set of racing softs on. He's topped up with fuel. Then we've got a whole bunch of them in the pits. Can Talleyrand jump all of them? Does he get the undercut on them all? Sharan up to second now. It's Digital Blasphemy in the lead. Sharan in second, Jim in third, Pat's fourth, Noxie fifth. And it looks like Talleyrand could have jumped them, but it's a weird pit lane, and they might be out before him. Let's have a look. There is Guesty. Homesick Alien also out on the track. And is he going to be on track before Talleyrand? It looks like he is. Super stuff there, and he's on the boost straight away. Boom. Consolidating that 6th place with Cthulhu just behind him in 7th. There is Talleyrand in 8th. He didn't get the job done with that early pit stop, but I think he took on more fuel. Looking at it, Homesick Alien, Homesick Alien took on less fuel than Talleyrand. Cthulhu also taking on less fuel, so Talleyrand topping up a little bit more than the two guys ahead of him. And Noxie now up into 5th, but his tyres are looking pretty goosed, and he might want to come in. There he goes. So Pat out there, Pat's looking after those tyres magnificently. He's only 1.5 seconds behind the Jim, 1 second behind the Jim. And Jim, he's got to flex it a little bit to try and get away from Pat. Digital Blasphemy so far though, getting purples. And he's 3 seconds ahead of Shiren. Tyres looking good, fuel looking good. He's ticking all the boxes out there for a win today. And Shiren also, tyres good, fuel good. And it's an echo from the Megans with Shiren and Digital Blasphemy battling it out. Shiren took the win in that race, and it looks like Digital Blasphemy is going to try and take the win in this race. Unbelievable stuff. Jim in 3rd place so far ahead of Pat, but Pat is looking very speedy around here. Underlay, arriba for Pat. Patty Gonzalez chasing down Jim. He's just got to stay on track. That's where Pat's issue's been today. He'd be leading this race if he hadn't had the 2 offs that we've seen him have so far. Homesick Alien getting the purple. He's gone for super soft tyres there. I didn't notice that. And Cthulhu's gone for softs. Talleyrand's gone for softs. So Homesick Alien going for a quick, brief, super soft stint in the middle of this race. Meanwhile, Digital Blasphemy, still no sign of a pit stop, nor for Shiren. Jim may want a pit stop soon. Those tyres are starting to look a little red, more red than they are white. And Pat out there looking after his tyres. He's beautiful stuff from Pat. And Pat closing that gap on Jim, looking to try and get him moved on to get himself up into 3rd, 22 seconds ahead of the Alien, who has pitted. Cthulhu has pitted. Noxie has pitted. He's got out ahead of Talleyrand. Talleyrand's pit stops really cost him, which I'm very surprised about. But he's on the gearbox of Noxie at the moment. Then we have JTX in 9th. He really lost out, going a lap too long on his tyres, I think. He was leading this race, but he lost some time in that final corner. And now he's got to play catch-up. And he doesn't do it like that. And Guesty also losing time on the rest of the gang. Digital Blasphemy again blasting past that pit stop. But Jim's gone in. Jim has taken the sensible route. His tyres were looking quite haggard. And can he get back out ahead of the Alien? The Alien getting purples. We've seen almost every sector. This has got to be a fastest lap. We'll sit on board. Not on board, but we'll sit with, why not? We'll go on board with Homesick Alien as he takes what I am imagining the fastest lap of the race. No, he doesn't. An 18.5. And Pat getting an 18.2 for the fastest lap. So Homesick Alien does get ahead of, I forgot who pitted. Jim, sorry. So Homesick Alien, Cthulhu, Noxie, Talleyrand. Oh, Jim's still in the pits. He must have topped that car right up, Jim. They're not putting as much fuel in, man. I think it's counterproductive to the tyre wear. But Jim out onto the pits. He's last behind JTX, but he's topped right up with fuel. I imagine he's going to try and do a very long stint in this stint. We're on lap 18 of 42. Digital Blasphemy, 7/10 on Shiren. Shiren trying to close the gap. Their tyres, Shiren's tyres looking a little worse for wear than Digital Blasphemy's. And Pat's is starting to show a little bit of red now. And these three are surely going to have to pit pretty soon. Homesick Alien, 21 seconds. He's got to keep a good lap time going on to try and get the jump done to go in the lead of this race. And I believe he won last week. I think he won the Megans and the Super Formula last week, if I remember rightly. And he's looking quite healthy at the moment. But I know Digital Blasphemy, he'll be trying to go till lap 21. because he'll want to one-stop it. He's easing off now, trying to look after those tyres, giving Shiren the opportunity to close up on him. And Pat also looking like he's going to try and get that one-stop done. And Digital Blasphemy, he's going to have to defend against Shiren, because Shiren has closed right up on the Mercedes driver as they come around up the hill to finish lap 19, start lap 20. 2 more laps, I imagine they'll want to hang it out there for before they come into the pits if they're one stopping. And at this point in the race, you're probably leaning towards a one stop. And they've looked after their tyres pretty good in this first part of the race, because I'd usually say a one stop means they're going to be ropey on tyres come the end of the race, and those 2 stoppers will be catching them right up. But to me, it looks like they've looked after those tyres magnificently, gloriously. Shiren 3/10 behind, and this will be helping him with fuel saving. He can just sit behind him, let the slipstream do the work for him. I thought Digital Blasphemy had lost his car then for a second. He looked like he was turning a little too much, but the driver in the Mercedes doing just enough to stay ahead of Shiren, and Pat's caught him up. But Pat's got fuel issues now. He's not going to, maybe he could squeeze another lap out of this car, but would he want to risk that? Would he want to risk another lap, having to ease off? I'd go in, but he might not be able to make a one-stop work. If he does, no, he stays out. He says, sod it, I'm going to go for it. So Digital Blasphemy also staying out, Pat staying out. Homesick Alien next on track. He's pulled in about 2 seconds on those guys ahead of him. And what's the pit stop cost? Pit stop costs about 30 seconds. He's going to be leading this race, but he has got another stop to make, I imagine. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of Noxie, who's just gained the fastest lap of the race, but his fuel is very low. He must have really not topped it up. And JTX is gone. He's DNF'd. So Catula in a 6th. 3.6 seconds behind Noxie, with Talleyrand in 7th. 2.5 seconds behind Catula. Guesty in 8th. And obviously Jim is at the back. I say obviously because he filled his car right up. No one else did. They all just put a little bit of fuel in there, where Jim, he really chugged up with fuel there. He's obviously going for a nice long stint mid-race at the moment. So Digital Blasphemy still leads at this point. This is around about the one-stop place. This is where you think they would pit, but maybe they're just going to try and push it for another lap. No, he goes in. He goes in, and Shiren stays out. Shiren's team must have said to him, whatever he does, do the opposite. And he has. He stayed out, but those tyres are old. He's not going to be getting the 18s and the 19s they were getting in early doors in this race. Digital Blasphemy and Pat both in. Pat was on an absolute slither of fuel, and Homesick Alien, can he get ahead of the 2 of them? But again, he will have to pit again before the end of this race. We're on lap 22 at the moment. Digital Blasphemy still stationary. Homesick Alien coming around those first couple of corners. Digital Blasphemy still stationary. It looks like Homesick Alien is gaining that place. Catula up to 3rd. Where didn't Noxie had to come in, didn't he? He was on low fuel. So Noxie in also. And what a corker we've got going on at the moment. Talleyrand goes through in 4th, Guesty in 5th, Jim up into 6th, and there comes Digital Blasphemy, but he'll be hoping this race comes back to him, because everyone in front of him should pit again. Pat out there in 8th, and Noxie's just coming out the pits now. He's only half filled that car. Is that enough to get to the end? I doubt it. He's going for really short stints, is Noxie, because that's going to mean he's going to have to pit again, I think. Shiren goes through again. He's really not interested in pitting. He's got 20 seconds on the Alien at the moment. And, you know, the longer he stays out there, Digital Blasphemy will be out there. he'll be banging in the lap times pretty soon. And Shiren is going to have to watch out, because he cannot get, well, he did a 19.9 his last time around. And we'll be looking at Digital Blasphemy after his outlap to see what sort of lap time he can gain. But I'm imagining he's going to be in the 18s or so. We'll have to see. Interesting stuff then from Digital Blasphemy and Shiren, the one-stopper guys. Shiren now, his fuel tank might be the one that forces him to come in. Homesick Alien, 19 seconds behind Shiren. He did a 19.6 his last time around. He's got 6 seconds on Cthulhu at the moment. And Cthulhu is 3 seconds ahead of the championship leader, Talleyrand. And I mean, he's got 13 points to play with. He can afford to lose a couple of points here and there. And there goes Shiren. Shiren into the pits. Where will that put him when he comes back out? Homesick Alien on those super softs. I thought he'd be doing faster lap times than that. The fastest lap time of the race is a 17.8 by Noxie. Homesick Alien on those super softs. He is carrying a bit more weight than some of the guys around him. He's a 19.2, but yeah, maybe he's preserving the tyres, looking after the fuel, managing his car, as they call it. And there is Cthulhu in second. He's dropped away from the Alien. He's used a good portion of his boost up. He's down to the last quarter, whereas Alien, he's only used a little bit of it up. Talleyrand, he's used about a quarter of his boost up. Jim up into fourth seat. He filled his car up. We said, oh my, but it has come back to him with everyone pitting. But I'm assuming he's going to have to pit again. And he's got Digital Blasphemy 3.5 seconds behind him. And Shiren comes out behind Digi. So yes, staying out that long has cost him. It's cost him definitely. But he's put the super softs on. Digital went for the softs. And Shiren is going to try and make them super softs excuse me, last for the rest of this race. And that is a brave move. And there is Pat in a 7th spot, the only other one-stopper. We've got Guesty in 8th, ahead of Noxie. And Noxie pitted recently, but he didn't put much fuel in. And you can see Guesty's tyres starting to go away from him. And he'll be pitting again soon. So Homesick Alien is the leader of this race so far. He's got 7 seconds on Cthulhu. He's pulling out those lap times. His tyres are starting to show red though, which is a bad sign for Cthulhu, even though Cthulhu can look after his tyres. Not Cthulhu, Shiren, sorry. Can look after his tyres quite well. And Shiren's going for a move on Digital Blasphemy. These two battling it out. This could be for the lead of the race, even though they're fighting 5th and 6th at the moment. Everyone in front of them's going to pit again, and these two, we're guessing, will not pit. And Shiren is going for it with those super soft tyres. He's trying to get himself ahead of Digital Blasphemy. I imagine he feels that Digi might be slowing him down somewhat. And Digital Blasphemy going for the safe option on the racing softs. Shiren going to the super softs. And he wants to get by Digital Blasphemy as quickly as possible because he doesn't want to be held up. He wants to get on. We're on lap 25 of 42. So what's that, 17 laps to go? 17 laps left of this race. And these two, I imagine, we're looking at the leaders, really. Down in, oh, Digi nearly lost the back end of his super formula. Shiren following him up the hill. This is going to be good for Shiren. Pat's looking behind, thinking, go on, you two. Take each other out. But no, Shiren's not managing to gain anything. I imagine Digi was on that. Digital Blasphemy was on the boost button like a nutter after that little step out of his back end. And Pat's closing the gap between these guys. Pat closing that gap between these two as they race each other, slowing each other down. Digital Blasphemy doing a 20.1, Shiren doing a 20.4, and an 18.6. from Pat. So Shiren and Digital Blasphemy are gonna have to watch themselves, and Pat, it's realistic that there's a win on the cards for Pat today. He's just got to play his cards right, keep his nose clean, and just try and keep it steady, Eddie, and a win could be on the cards for Pat. It's not impossible. Homesick Alien out there leading the race, but he's going to have to pit in the next few laps. He's less than a quarter of a tank of fuel now for Homesick Alien. He's nearly 7.5 seconds, or just over 7.5 seconds ahead of the Spaniard, who's in a similar position, but he's used his tyres up a lot more than Alien. No, similar for, to say, the super softs and the softs. Talleyrand is 3 seconds behind Cthulhu. He was one of the first to stop. He put in a little bit more fuel than those guys, lost track position, and it's not really gained anything for him. He's on similar fuel as those guys, and he's being caught by Jim at this point. Jim's tyres are a lot fresher, half a tank of fuel for Jim, and I questioned Jim's tactics when he came in, filled up with fuel, but he's looked after his tyres beautifully, and he's still got half a tank of fuel, and he's right on Talleyrand's chuff now. Let's get on board with Jim as he closes up on Talleyrand. He's looking up the gaps, the small little gaps up the inside of Talleyrand Subaru Super Formula. They make their way around, heavy braking into this final corner, touching the inside apex, trying to get as good a run as possible as you go up the hill. And now this is where we see Jim's weight come into play. He's caught up the Talleyrand, and he's through up into third place. There's nothing Talleyrand can do about that. The Honda is up and into third place. The lucky strike, beautiful stuff. He should lend that car to Homesick Alien at one point. Sees Villeneuve helmet in it. It would be awesome. Now Jim using the boost to try and pull away from Talleyrand, trying to break that slipstream from Talleyrand down that straight. And there you go, Jim doing an absolutely cracking job out there. Homesick Alien still leading nearly 10 seconds. He's up to 9 seconds, sorry. But his fuel is flashing now. And Cthulhu, fuel flashing. These two are going to be pitting pretty soon. Jim looks like he's got a fair few laps left in his Honda yet. Talleyrand's fuel is flashing as well. Shiren has caught him up. Shiren did get past Digital Blasphemy. I apologise. Digital Blasphemy, though, boxing clever. He's thinking race win. He's thinking that Shiren can go and burn all the fuel he likes, burn his tyres, because Digital Blasphemy is playing the long game, and Pat has caught him up. And I said, one to watch, Pat. If he's sensible today, a win could be on the cards. And he's in the shout as the guys go into the pits. There's Homesick Alien into the pits. Cthulhu. Oh, Cthulhu's gone through. Cthulhu has gone through. Talleyrand's gone in, though. Cthulhu, that is very interesting. He stayed out. He stayed out for another lap. Jim's catching him up, though. Look at Jim go. Jim on an absolute push at the moment, with Shiren in third. He's only 2 seconds behind those guys, and they've got a pit, and he hasn't. Pat has got past Digital Blasphemy, so that weight on Pat's car helping him out no end. And if he catches up Shiren and gets ahead of Shiren, this truly could be Pat's first win in Super Formula. Talleyrand into the pits. He's pulling away now, as is Guesty. Homesick's already out on track. In seventh behind Noxie. Noxie, though, we said didn't put much fuel in. He's got a quarter of a tank of fuel now. We're on lap 29, so 13 laps to go. Homesick Alien, this will be a run all the way till the end. It looks like 3/4 of the tank is the sweet spot. Jim is leading. He's leading. What happened to Cthulhu? Cthulhu, oh no! Cthulhu must have made a small mistake. He didn't go into the pits, and he's been caught up by Jim. Jim's gone through, and Shiren right on the tail of Cthulhu. Cthulhu's got to come into the pits now, and Shiren is in trouble from Pat. Pat right on Shiren's case, and he's trying to look up the inside of the Haas car. There's no room there. Just be patient, Pat. Come out of the corner faster than him and get him down the straight. Jim is leading this race, though, with Shiren in second, Pat in third, Digital Blasphemy in fourth. Noxie 5th, Homesick Alien 6th, as Cthulhu is still in the pits. Oh, Pat and Jim, Shiren alongside each other, but Pat's going for the move, Pat's going for the move of the inside. And has he done it? No, because Shiren's coming back at him. No, Shiren's had to tuck him behind. And now Pat has to be very sensible, very careful, and keep that car facing the right way and do everything by the book. Jim is leading by 2.2 seconds. He's got quarter of a tank of fuel and his tyres are still looking gravy. Pat there in second. His tyres are looking absolutely spliffing and he's got half a tank of fuel. Shiren, half a tank of fuel on those super soft tyres. But the weight is against him. Digital Blasphemy, he's dropped back 2 seconds from that battle, but he is thinking of the later on in the race where he'll come back stronger. Noxie in 5th. He's going to have to pit similar time to Jim. And Homesick Alien in 6th place, 12 seconds ahead of Cthulhu. Cthulhu managed to get out ahead of Talleyrand, even though Cthulhu dropped a little bit there before his pit stop. He's managed to do the job to get ahead of Talleyrand and Guesty there in 9th spot. Kalen saying this looks fun. It's an immense season, an immense championship at the moment. But Jim on a quarter of a tank of fuel. Shiren one stopping, and he's back ahead of Pat. He's back ahead of Pat. Don't know where he lost it, but he's coming back at Shiren, a Russian sensation. And Pat there sitting firmly on the back of the gearbox of that Haas car. The Haas car out wide, that giving Pat a little boost there. He's feeling good. He'll be thinking, yes, Shiren's starting to get raggedy. He's Mr. Cool, Mr. Iceman is Shiren. He makes no mistakes barely, but he's looking ragged at the moment, and Pat is giving him something to think about. Digital Blasphemy in 4th, just keep taking it easy, man. He's chilling. He's coming, he's waiting till the end of the race. He doesn't need to do anything yet. He's waiting for them last few laps. Like Hamilton, it's the last 3 laps that he has to worry about. Turtle saying, come on, Pat. Pedal to the metal. But he's not doing the job against Shiren at the moment. Shiren doing an 18-0, but Shiren's virtually used all of his boost. Pat's still got a little bit of boost there left in reserves. Jim is leading the way, and he's not hardly using any fuel, is Jim. So Jim's doing a cracking job. There's 10 laps left of racing to do here. Jim will definitely have to pit before the end of the race. Shiren catching him up quite quickly, because Shiren, he's having to pull that. He's having to pull everything out of the bag to keep away from Pat, because Pat was really giving him some hassle earlier on. Pat missing that corner. And there is Digital Blasphemy in 4th place. Noxie in 6th. Noxie's going to have to pit at the end of this lap. His fuel is cooked. Homesick Alien in 6th place. He's 9 seconds behind Noxie. He'll move up a position there. Then we've got Talleyrand and Cthulhu, the championship leader Talleyrand. He's not getting great points today, but after Jim and Noxie's pit stop, that'll move him up 2 places. Although he's 36 seconds behind Jim, Jim might be able to get in and get out of the pits. Jim, go in now. You've got the time to stay ahead of Talleyrand. Go in. Go in, 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 go in. No, he stays out. Jim, go in. You might get out ahead of Cthulhu if you go in now, but he's decided to stay out and race Shiren. He's holding Shiren up. Noxie's into the pits. So Noxie's gone into the pits. Digital Blasphemy there in 4th. Pat is lost a bit of time to Shiren, 1.2 seconds. Shiren trying all he can to get by Jim. Jim being the Honda block. And he's staying out there ahead of the Haas. And it's crazy racing at the moment. Jim, your tyres are going to start going away from you. Go into the pits, Jim. There's like 9 laps left. What are you trying to save? Go in, put your super softs on, top up with a bit of fuel, get back out there ahead of Cthulhu, and you might be able to catch up Homesick. You never know on the super softs. But Jim, he's sticking it out there with Shiren giving it his all. Shiren's only 1 stop to this race. Doesn't plan on going in again. And with that, with Jim, he's gone a bit wide and he's gone through. He's released the Haas. The Haas is now on its way. Pat will be wanting to get past Jim rather quickly. Jim staying out. Is he staying out again? Oh my word, Jim, those tyres will be cooked, man. you won't be getting the lap times. You've already done a 20.7. Talleyrand and Catula are doing 19s. 18.9 from Talleyrand and 19.1 from Catula. You're losing ground on them guys. Jim, go in. So there is Shiren leading this race. He doesn't have to pit again. And this should be just a straightforward run all the way to the end for him. He's got Pat in third place. Pat also running all the way till the end. Digital Blasphemy are running to the end, but he's lost ground on those guys. He's 3.6 seconds behind Shiren and 2.6 seconds behind Pat. But I think he's saving it for the last 3 laps, Hamilton style. And Shiren then, Jim's fuel is flashing. He's going to come in. And Homesick Alien, he's got 13.3 seconds on Cthulhu there. He's got a lot of ground to make up for Digital Blasphemy, with Digital Blasphemy not pitting. But Homesick Alien doing some cracking lap times. He's been in the 18s consistently, late 18s. And Pat's dropped down. Oh my God, what's Pat done? Pat's dropped behind Digital Blasphemy. So Pat obviously has made a mistake. And this is disastrous for Pat. We thought there was a win on the table for Pat, but he's lost a ground to a Digital Blasphemy. Jim stayed out again. You're going to put yourself behind Talleyrand at this point. Although you'll have the fresher tyres and the lighter car, so possibly be able to manoeuvre him, but still. You're not going to make it to the end. Your tyres are starting to cook. You're doing 20s with the guys behind you are doing 18s. I don't know what his plan is. So Shiren out there now, looking like he's got the win on the cards here at Interlagos for round 6 of the Super Formula Championship. Jim in second, who's going to be pitting at the end of this lap. Digital Blasphemy, he's one stopped as well, and he's looking good for second place in this race. Pat is fourth, 27.3 that last time around. He must have had a huge off. Stay calm, Pat, stay chilled, stay on the grey stuff. Homesick Alien 10 seconds adrift, but he's doing really steady 18s. He's pulling away from Cthulhu, who's done an 18.7 that last time around, because Talleyrand is starting to twist his nipples and catch him up. And there goes Jim, finally into the pits, but can he get back out ahead of Cthulhu? And I think he's left it too late. I think now he's going to end up behind Talleyrand and Cthulhu. And their tyres are still not too bad. Guesty there, he's 7.4 seconds behind Talleyrand. He's in his own little race with Noxie at the moment. Noxie on those super soft tyres, half a tank of fuel, and he's got better pace. He's got the fastest lap of the race, remember, a 17.8, and it looks like Guesty is a sitting duck there for Noxie. He's coming through. Excuse me, coming through. And Jim's coming out of the pit lane, and yeah, I don't think he's going to be ahead of those guys. They've gone, haven't they? No, he is. He's ahead of Cthulhu. Just. It's got to be tenths. There they are. They can see Jim coming out in front of them. Crack on, Jim. Come on. He's on the super softs. Half a tank of fuel. You've got to do some absolutely cracking lap times to catch up that Alien. The Alien, he's just dropping into the 19s. His tyres just showing a bit of red. So, Jim, you've really got to drive like the wind. Shiren then 8.5 second lead in this race. And you've got to say, he has slam dunked this one. This has got to be his, unless he has an off or something. Shiren is definitely going to get this win. With Digital Blasphemy in second. Pat catching back up with Digital Blasphemy. So Digital Blasphemy, it's not a foregone conclusion, that's second place. And Pat very close behind the number 4 car in his Williams replica. Williams versus Mercedes. How interesting. Then Homesick Alien in the old Williams Leyland. Then we've got Jim in the Lucky Strike Honda. Cthulhu in 6th place, staying ahead of Talleyrand. Talleyrand losing a whole bunch of points in this championship. He's 13 points ahead of the rest of the field. Homesick Alien is going to gain the most on him. getting that 4th spot, but Jim is going to be riding like the wind. He's going to be driving like Black Beauty. He's going to try and catch up the Alien. The Alien's tyres are only ever going to go off. He's only going to get slower as the race proceeds on. And Jim, keep your head, Jim. Keep your head, man. And Shiren, look at that. He's extended it to 9.2 seconds. He really is pushing. He's out of boost now. So he is just driving off his own steam, Turtle, saying that was a tight call. Superb. What's that with Jim coming out ahead of Catula? And oh my God, there goes Pat. Pat's going up against Digi. Digi having to defend from the Williams. This is cracking stuff. Let's get on board with the Pats. Come on, Pat, my son. In the George Russell replica helmet, in the Williams replica chassis, and he's through up the inside. Is that it? It looks like he's got the position away from the Mercedes, and there you go. Pat up into second, but can he maintain it? We've only got 4 laps left of this race. Wow, that has gone in a blink of an eye. Unbelievable stuff. And Shiren, where did Shiren's drive come from? Him and Digital Blasphemy. It looked like there was nothing in it between the two of them. Looked like Digital Blasphemy had done the job on Shiren, and now Digital Blasphemy is on the final podium position. He's lost this 2nd place, and can Pat maintain though? Remember, Pat has he likes to have a look at the grass and the barriers. So fingers crossed, toes crossed, legs crossed, everything's crossed for Pat to maintain that 2nd place. Digital Blasphemy down to 3rd. Looks like he's going a little slower there. 22.1 for Digital Blasphemy, a 20.8 for Pat. Shiren's in the 19s. Homesick Alien is doing a 20.2. Jim, oh no, Jim's lost time. Jim's lost something there, and he's let Catula up into 5th and Talleyrand into 6th. Devastating stuff for Homesick. He'll be gutted. He'll want Jim ahead of Talleyrand for the championship. And my word, oh Jim. Noxie in 8th, only 3.5 seconds behind Jim, and Noxie is fast today. Absolutely fast, but he's had a few pit stops. And Guesty there in 9th place. So Shiren 11.7 seconds ahead of Pat. Pat's 1.5 seconds ahead of Digi. Digital Blasphemy in 3rd. And Homesick Alien looks like he's catching up Digital Blasphemy now. We've only got 3 laps left of this race. So it'll take a blooming miracle for Homesick to catch up that top 3. But it does seem to be that Digital Blasphemy, unless he made a small mistake on lap 38 to give him a 22.1, that was the lap he raced with Pat on. And we'll see as he comes around. And it's a 20.3 for Digital Blasphemy. And the Homesick Alien, he's in the 20s as well now. 19.6, so it's a big call with 2 laps left in this race. Catula staying ahead of Talleyrand. Here comes Jim. Jim's trying to come back at Talleyrand. Jim trying to get some positions up. He's ahead of Talleyrand. His tyres are a lot fresher, and that's it. There's nothing Talleyrand can do. It's all about weight and freshness of tyres, and Jim on those super softs, he's going to be catching up Catula as well. Catula on those super softs, and they're looking a bit raggedy, and Jim may get those positions back. Come on, Jim. He's getting purples. He's going for the fastest lap. He's got a load of boost left on car for Jim. Get that boost out, mate. Get your boost out. Let's see your boost. Let's see your peanut butter boost. So Jim on a push there, trying to get Catula's 5th place from him. And Shiren, he looks like he's the unstoppable force today. The Ruski, the Russian sensation, has done the job sweetly, and Jim's getting clogged up there behind Catula, giving Talleyrand the opportunity to close up. Noxie's closing up on Talleyrand as well. He's only a 10th behind, and Noxie's got weight advantage on Talleyrand. Talleyrand might find himself even further back in this race, and Noxie on the fresher, super soft tyres going up the hill, and Talleyrand a sitting duck. I don't think there's anything Talleyrand's going to be able to do against Noxie. Noxie's gone through as well. Oh my word. Noxie up into 7th, Talleyrand dropping down into 8th. He slipped in for that slipstream to try and get himself back ahead of Noxie up the inside, but there's just nothing. And Jim, at the same time, Jim's got through. He's back up into 5th. Come on, get that boost on. Go on, Jim. Crack on. Unbelievable stuff. So Catula back down into 6th place. Noxie up into 7th. Talleyrand losing points hand over fist here. The championship leader. He's 13 points in the lead of this championship, and he's losing a boat full of points today. With Homesick Alien in 4th. He's also got quite a bit of boost left. Sharon is 10 seconds in the lead of Pat. Pat's fuel's flashing. Oh, it's all right. We've only got one more lap to go. Phew-wee. Digital Blasphemy, though, only 1.5 seconds behind Pat. If Pat has to ease off. And Turtle in the chat saying driver of the day, Pat. That's if he doesn't run out of fuel before the end of this lap. Shouldn't do, but we'll have to see. Homesick Alien in a solid 4th. Jim, I'm giving Jim the driver of the day. He's done a cracking job. Jim in 5th. Noxie's up to 6th. He's got past Catula. Catula's having to back right off. Oh my God, Catula's fuel. So Catula's backed right out of this one to try and save fuel. Talleyrand up into 7th. Noxie's up to 6th as they're coming around for the final lap. And I think Sharon, no, he hasn't crossed the line. Sorry. I thought that little blue arrow up there was Sharon, but he's way off yet. Pat still always pulled away from Digital Blasphemy. I don't understand. Digital Blasphemy must be easing off a little bit. He's got time to. Homesick Alien in 4th, 14 seconds ahead of Jim. Jim's 3.5 seconds ahead of Noxie. Talleyrand is, he's closing up on Noxie, but his fuel's not looking like he's got the fuel to waste. And here comes Sharon up through the final corner to take the checkered flag. Well done, Sharon. Great win. Pat, second in the Super Formula round 6. Super stuff from Pat. Here he comes to take the 2nd place on the podium, and Digital Blasphemy rounds out the podium there in 3rd. Homesick Alien coming home. Oh, take a boo, my son. And here comes Homesick Alien finishing in 4th, with Jim coming up the hill to grab 5th place. And right at the beginning of this race, he went wide in the first corner, and he was quite a way off. Well, Sharon was 7 seconds off from it, and he gets the fastest lap as he crosses the line. Well done, Jim. Noxie comes home in 6th, Talleyrand in 7th, Catula finishing in 8th, and here comes a Guesty. The fuel was tight for Guesty there in the end, and he comes home in 9th, and Jim got your fastest lap with a 17.6 right on that final lap, and JTX unfortunately disappeared. And there you go, there's the Russian sensation, Sharon from Team 13. I don't mention Team 13 much anymore, but there you go. He's taken the win. Super stuff from the Russian. I'll take you to the race results. And there we go. So Sharon takes the win today from Pat. Well done, Pat. Big applause around the room. Yeah. Yeah. So Pat getting 2nd place today ahead of Digital Blasphemy, who rounds out that podium. Take a boo, my son. Homesick Alien in a solid drive home to 4th. Good points. Closing the gap on Talleyrand because he's finished a good 3 places ahead of him. He could have done with Catula ahead of Talleyrand for his championship battle, but he'll take what he can, I imagine. So Homesick Alien coming home in 4th. Jim in an absolute corking race. I think Jim made the most overtakes in that race. Maybe him or Pat. It's a close one, and as Turtle calls Pat driver of the day, we'll give it to Pat because it was a definite drive of champions there for Pat in 2nd. But Jim also doing a cracking job, and he got that fastest lap on lap 42, the very last lap, with a 17.686. Noxie finishing in 6th, Talleyrand in 7th, Catula in 8th at the end there. I think he had fuel issues where he lost a spot to Noxie and Talleyrand, and Guesty finishing in 9th. The weight was against Guesty today. In the chat then, Pat, not going to get too excited until it's confirmed after the stewards lost my previous first VRC podium to a post-race penalty. And Pat saying at Sardinia in GTMC Season 4. Okay, all right then. We'll hold our breath, Pat, until that. But no, enjoy it while you can, Pat. Why not? Enjoy it until you hear otherwise. Party on, Garth. Party on, Wayne. So that is the Super Formula for this week, round 6 at Interlagos. It was a corker. It was cracking. It was special. And join us again live next Friday for round 7. Can I tell you where it is? Is it a secret? It's not a secret, but it's, if I can find it. Lago Maggiore! That is a tyre killer, ladies and gentlemen. That is one to watch. Mama Homesick in the chat saying, great race, all well done, Homesick. He did well. He was one of the heaviest cars out there, managing to get 4th. So it's a super job from a super driver. And that is all. So join us again. During the week, there is the GTMC and the Super GTs. I believe the Super GTs this Tuesday coming is a 1 race instead of 2 races around Nürburgring. And I believe we will be streaming that live on the evening. This is confirmation of that. Join us Tuesday evening live for the Super GTs. But the next race you'll be seeing here live on, well, there'll be a GTMC race maybe tomorrow or later, but it's a replay. But I'll be doing that soon for the GTMC. But the next live event will be the VW Bug Enduro Cup, round 3. On Sunday evening. So join us for that. I was your commentator and your broadcaster, Hugh Jass. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you next time. Peace and love. Peace and love. I'm just a love machine. I'm just a love machine. I'm just a